All right, my top 7 final expense telesales carriers review coming right up. Howdy, everybody, and greetings and salutations. Of course, it's David Duford at Duford Insurance Group, where I train and recruit agents nationally to sell things like final expense, Medicare, and annuities, both face-to-face and over the phone. Thanks so much for being here. And make sure you subscribe to this video and this channel if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. That helps my videos rank better in YouTube, so more agents who desperately need to see high quality content will see mine preferentially. So thank you in advance. So the purpose of this video is to give you some insight on what I think the top 7 final expense telesales carriers are at the filming of this, approximately the first or second quarter of 2021. So I'm going to do a quick overview of these top 7 carriers. These aren't in any particular sort of order. These are just the carriers that we use a lot of in the Duford Insurance Group, that I hear a lot of positive feedback from my agents who are doing final expense telesales. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so the first carrier is Prosperity Life Insurance Company. Prosperity Life Insurance is a great product. It's been around for many years now, and they do a fantastic job for agents who want to specialize in final expense telesales. Let me tell you a little bit about why I like them and why you should consider them. So first of all, Prosperity offers a verbal 100% authorization application process. You start the application on an electronic application, and then by the time the client is ready to get qualified, you phone it in 3-way with the client on the line to answer questions and get a decision at the end of the conversation. Again, when you do telesales, getting an instant decision, yay or nay or rated up or whatever it is vital if you want to be successful. The last thing you want to do in this business is work with carriers that don't give you an instant decision, that make you wait a prolonged period of time before you hear back from the carrier. Prosperity does an excellent job in helping you arrive at a decision very quickly, and is why it's one of my top choices to work with when selling final expense telephonically. As far as underwriting goes, there's a 2-year look back on heart conditions, a 3-year look back on most cancer conditions. Insulin is okay really at any age possible. And anything that you smoke other than cigarettes, including cannabis, is considered non-smoking rates. So you have a little bit of a niche advantage working with Prosperity as well. Number 2 on the list is Royal Neighbors of America, an excellent telesales and face-to-face carrier for that matter, that does a great job of getting your clients great coverage at competitive pricing with very flexible underwriting. Royal Neighbors has some of the clearest and easiest to understanding underwriting standards that amongst the final expense telesales carriers that we're going to talk about today. For example, they have a 2-year look back on cancer, 2-year look back on heart-related conditions. They take atrial fibrillation. They're very generous on the diabetes side of things. Insulin after 30 is okay for level first day full coverage. And diabetic neuropathy is okay too, which amongst all of the different telesales carriers are the only one that will accept diabetic neuropathy, which is a huge advantage. Speaking of that, you can also get no height weight issues. There is no build chart. So it doesn't matter how big or small or wide or thin your client is, as long as they can answer all the questions no, they're going to get approved for coverage. Additionally, there is a 3-page prescription guide. And if you've ever looked at this prescription guide for final expense carriers, typically they're more like 30 to 40 pages. So this is a relief in the sense that it's very simple to find underwriting guidance for prescriptions that are out there for Royal Neighbors. Prices are also very competitive through their main writing age, which I would say we're between 60 and 75 years old. We've got great fraternal benefits. There's a great discount card that really meshes well with seniors who are retired that need discounts on vision, hearing, and dental work. So I would highly consider picking up Royal Neighbors of America. If you're doing telesales and you don't have them, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities to write first day full coverage where you otherwise wouldn't get it with other carriers. Next on the list here is Guaranteed Trust Life. Guaranteed Trust Life is a unique product we write a ton with, because essentially what it does is it eliminates the need to write more of the guaranteed issue opportunities or carriers that we have because of its flexible underwriting. For example, Guaranteed Trust Life, first of all, has the advantage of giving 50% death benefits starting in month 13 of the policy, then moving to full 100% death benefit coverage for natural and accidental death starting in month 24 of the coverage, or in the beginning of the 3rd year. This is unique because most guaranteed issue carriers that we offer, which we'll talk about later, make you wait 2 full years before you're fully covered. GTL can offer coverage you otherwise would have put with guaranteed issue carriers, more coverage starting in the second year than they would get with the others. So they're a huge advantage to your client, which is one big reason why we like them. Now, as far as types of coverage that would normally go guaranteed issue that work very well with GTL, congestive heart failure is something that you're going to get approved with a GTL heritage product. You're also going to get recent cancer that's already been cured within the last year. Recent heart issues within the last year. Normally, a guaranteed issue situation now can be put with guaranteed trust life. Also, oxygen use that's not 24/7 will go with GTL, which is normally going to end up in a guaranteed issue situation. There's a couple of other unique underwriting situations that GTL is used for. These are the most common. And again, guys, if you're doing telesales, we highly recommend them because they've got a very easy e-app to start the process, a 2 to 3 minute long verbal authorization application that's very simple for you and your clients for them to verbally sign off to get a decision on, and then to wrap the thing up. Oh yeah, by the way, at the filming of this, GTL does not do a medical information bureau or prescription check. So that means if the client answers no, everything no honestly, then they're just going to be issued. There's no additional underwriting that's proposed. So if it gets approved, it's because they've answered everything no, and it's very easy to use. So again, GTL is huge for us. We use a lot of them. We highly recommend all final expense telesales organizations seriously consider putting GTL into their bag of tricks. Next on the list here is Great Western. This is our preferred guaranteed issue carrier. Great Western does not ask questions. It issues a GI, guaranteed issue policy, that makes the client wait 2 full years before natural death is fully 100% covered. We like Great Western because they have a very easy verbal authorization signature process for your client. They don't have to go through any sort of electronic application process that makes the process, of course, real simple and easy to get done. The pricing is pretty competitive, and the availability age is between 40 and 80 years old. And there's a nice little feature with Great Western that once the client's past 9 months of the effective date, you are immune and free from chargeback risk due to death, which is unusual to find with most guaranteed issue carriers. Next on the list here is American General, or AIG for guaranteed issue. We like to throw in AIG because simply it does the same thing as Great Western at slightly more competitive pricing, so you might want to consider it. Although it is not one that I would actually recommend as a first choice, simply because it requires an electronic signature to get the policy approved. The e-app is pretty simple. Most people are aware and familiar with the company, so there is some kind of brand recognition. And there is going to be some states where Great Western isn't available, like Washington State, a few others as well, where you're going to have to use another guaranteed issue carrier. So that's why I threw AIG into the mix. They're available from 50 to 80. Their rates are very competitive. And again, it's a 2-year waiting period product that gives full death benefit coverage after 2 years. So consider adding AIG if for some reason you can't get Great Western. Okay, next on the list here is Security National Life. Security National Life is a company that's out of Salt Lake City, Utah, been around for a very long time. And they've got a great overall basic product that is very easy to use, simple to use, that it goes from age 40 all the way up to age 90 as a very total, easy to use verbal authorization application process where you simply phone in the application. There's no electronic signature process required or e-app process for you required. You just simply phone it in. They put in the whole application into the system and then arrive at a decision before you end the phone line. We like Security National Life because they give you a 10% lead bonus if you do a minimum production with them, so they can help offset your lead costs. That's like you get an extra 10% commission in a sense, if you will. And a lot of people like using smaller companies in this business, and Security National, relative to others, is a smaller company. They take care of their agents. They are more attentive to them in a sense, I think. So if you're not using Security National Life, or if you've got other carriers locked up, definitely consider using SNL as one of your primary final expense telesales carriers. Okay, last on the list here is Aetna Ascendo product, or maybe you know them as the CVS Health product. So here's why we like the Ascendo product. It's very much like the Forrester's product, which we use mostly for face-to-face, in the sense that it has very flexible, liberal underwriting for its standard pricing and its preferred. The biggest advantage, I think, with Aetna Ascendo when it comes to underwriting is it will get your situations underwriting-wise, like COPD and some neurological conditions, approved for first day full coverage at a standard rate, whereas all the other carriers I mentioned just simply don't. Also, what's nice about Aetna is that they have a decision process that doesn't involve a phone interview, and it involves literally, it's hard to believe, but it's true, you taking a keyword from the client, and that keyword acts as basically the signature process to get the policy approved. They've been using this process for Medicare supplements, for final expense for the last couple of years, and it makes the whole underwriting process on the phone very simple. Not to mention that CVS Health and Aetna are both brand names that most people are very familiar with, so that kind of goes a little bit of mileage to help you kind of sell the deal and seal the deal. Some downsides we've heard from Aetna using the Aetna product, just to let you guys know. Hopefully this changes, so this may not be up to date if you watch this well into the future. Just keep that in mind. There are some issues getting the policies issued and sent out. We've heard some complaints from agents that there's a bit of a slowdown with some of the Aetna process, so we hope that resolves very soon. And then also, a lot of the instant decision process to get your clients approved with the CVS Health Ascendo product with Aetna isn't always instant. About 1 out of 2 to 1 out of 3 of your applicants, based on my rough math, don't get an instant decision. And again, if we're doing telesales, the problem with this is that, well, we get off the phone with them, and if they're not approved, what do? Usually they disappear into the ethers, or they're raptured up into heaven. I don't know. They just don't ever pick the phone up again. So we don't want to use Aetna, in my experience or my opinion, as a primary carrier. I'll definitely use them in the niche-based situations where I can't get another policy approved. But at the filming of this video, until they get these little issues resolved, especially with the instant decision side of thing, I'm not going to use or recommend Aetna as a first choice, but definitely as a niche-based carrier. But I hope that they fix this, because boy, I'd love to use Aetna Ascendo a lot. They just got a lot to offer: brand name, good pricing, good underwriting, flexibility, age range 40 to 89. There's just a lot to like about them. And when they fix that, they're going to be something I think I'll talk a lot more about as being a primary carrier. So there's my lineup for you. I hope you enjoyed this video on my favorite final expense telesales carriers. I hope you learned a little bit news about some of these carriers that you may be unfamiliar with. And if you're interested in contracting with any of these carriers, whether you're a current agent or you're thinking about joining, or you just want to pick up some carriers your other organization doesn't offer, I'll be happy to help you. Simply click the links above or below to learn more about how my agency works and how to do that. If you got any questions, leave them in the chat below. I'll be happy to personally reply to them. And please remember, like and subscribe if you haven't already. This is David Duford at Duford Insurance Group, logging out. See ya.